All right, let's move on. Lost land treasures. This is a starting now. If you are occupying 1 hectare piece of land, it means you are sitting on not less than 50,000 US dollars. You can calculate that to find the equivalent. But let's just say maybe the minimum that you are sitting on is 500,000 emalangeni. If anywhere in the kingdom of Eswatini you have a piece of land that is 100 by 100, that is an equivalent of 1 hectare. In fact, from 1 acre to 1 hectare, 1 acre is 70 by 70, but let's settle for 100 by 100. If that's a piece of land that you have, it means every year, the amount of money that you are resting on is an equivalent of about 500,000 emalangeni in terms of the minimum value of that land. Now, the question is, why isn't that land being used? Here is a scripture. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure that is hidden in the field. So what Jesus is telling us is that the field where you are sitting on is full of treasure. What is his illustration? He says, when a man found that treasure, so imagine this man is maybe renting land from you, and as he's trying to dig, he finds that underground there is oil. So what that man does is that he doesn't tell the owner to say, I found this treasure in this land, but all he does is goes back to the owner and begins to negotiate whether he can buy that land. The owner tries to dilly-dally here and there, but he says, that will cost you too much. Are you able to give me this much? Let's say the owner says, okay, this will cost you 1.5 million rand. So the guy says, well, I really love your land. Okay, let me see. Give me 3 days. So he goes back and then sells everything that he has because of the oil that he has seen under that land. So he sells everything that he has and then he buys that field. That's what Jesus is saying. His implication here is that when you are sitting on land, there is treasure that you rarely see. And this is the treasure I'm trying to illustrate in this previous statement to say if you are sitting on 1 hectare, that hectare is as valuable as 50,000 US dollars per year. Okay, now, this is the way I illustrate it in simple way. The picture you see there is a pastor's picture who had this 1 acre piece of land, but he had planted a lot of grass around his yard. We call them yards here, his compound. So there was more grass than productivity in his compound. Now that grass, he keeps watering it, and he has to pay the water and sewerage company to water that grass. And who is enjoying the grass? Basically, it's his pets, the dogs and cats. He rarely sits there because he's busy as a pastor preaching, leading people to Christ, probably preparing them for heaven. But he has to struggle with some kind of money. So after the training, you can see how he looks on his face. He looks very annoyed because he felt this land had taken a lot of money from him. He had to pay water bills, just trying to keep the grass green. Now, what did he do? Immediately after having been exposed, he decided, okay, this grass has made me poor, so I'll remove this grass, and then he planted those cabbages that you see there. So his mind was totally transformed. Now, we are not saying you can remove all the grass. You can still have patches of grass, but you cannot afford to have 3/4 of your premises filled with green grass, which is also draining money out of you. Or maybe your yard just flooded with flowers, which don't bring any revenue. Unless you've put those flowers in a way that they are able to bring money, maybe you have some colorful events happening at your place, then the grass will make sense. But if you are just looking at the grass, admiring it, and it's taking away your money, then that grass is irrelevant. In fact, it's a curse to you. So you better remove it and then plant something that will give you revenue. Okay, so I think this is something that we need to revisit. For some of us, maybe it's not necessarily grass, but we have put concrete pavers on the soil that is supposed to be giving us money. So what challenge do we give you today as an Empowered Worldview team? You may need to go and revisit that grass that has been taking away your revenue. Because in the area where you are, imagine if you have cabbages like this, your neighbors will be able to come and buy your merchandise without having to travel all the way to the market. You can actually divide your field like that. Okay, so you place it in such a way that you can plant, where you plant your flowers, you can actually have herbs there, bitter herbs, chili, you can see there are onions there, some onions that are planted in the field, some nice herbs around. If you like those flowers that climb, you can actually plant beans. Beans does climb. So if you're looking for something that will climb somewhere, just go for beans. It will be able to climb. It finds its way of climbing. So you can see this person has left a bit of, to your far left on the top screen, a bit of grass, but the land is full of nice vegetables. So you see all those clusters of vegetables, okay? The lady you see below, that is Mrs. Barack Obama. And I watched the documentary where she was talking about the fact that she enjoys being in the garden and she wants to plant her own vegetables. So this is, at this time, she was still First Lady of the United States. Imagine the whole First Lady in the garden. Maybe you, my sister, are just married to the head of security in ShopRite, but you can't even find yourself in the garden. So what are some of the things that you need to do? If this powerful woman of God can be there, you can also do something, get into garden and bring productivity to the family. Okay. We will not look at those scriptures for now. It's the scriptures that I'll give you that you can go and revisit as you go home, because we'll be examining those scriptures when we come back tomorrow. So each of you will take those, will post them into the chat arena so that you can carry them over. And I would want you to go and read all the scriptures that we need to examine tomorrow. We'll go and read them. Then we can come back with some insights around what would have learned. But I just wanted to build on what Pastor Mlangeni shared in terms of the story of fruitfulness and increase. And that is Genesis chapter 1.